The morning calm of my Colorado cabin was shattered by a pounding on the door, as if someone were trying to break it down with their fists. I was mid-code, debugging a client's payment system, the pine-scented air and distant bird calls my only companions. At 7 a.m., the relentless banging jolted me, nearly tipping my coffee onto my laptop. Heart pounding, I expected a stranded hiker or a ranger with news of a wildfire. Instead, I opened the door to find a woman in her 50s, dressed in a sleek black suit that looked absurdly out of place on my gravel driveway. She gripped a leather clipboard like a badge of power, her makeup flawless despite the early hour and rough mountain road. "Good morning," I said, keeping the door half closed, instinct warning me to hold my ground. She didn't bother with niceties. "I'm Deborah Langley, president of the Pine Crest Homeowners Association," she announced, her voice sharp with practiced authority. "I'm here for a mandatory inspection due to multiple aesthetic violations, including that flag on your porch, which violates Section 4.2.7 of our regulations." Her eyes zeroed in on the American flag hanging from the porch post, a faded symbol of my family's pride since my great-grandfather's World War II days. "I'm Lucas Bennett, a 25-year-old software engineer who traded city chaos for this 40-acre haven, inherited by my grandfather, Henry Bennett, with a deed as clear as the mountain sky. No HOA, no neighbors for miles, just freedom." "There's no HOA here," I said, struggling to stay calm. "My family's owned this land for 60 years. We're not part of any community." Deborah's face remained stone cold. "The Pinecrest HOA was formed in 2019, covering all properties in our jurisdiction, regardless of ownership history," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. She flipped through her papers with a flourish. "Ignorance of our rules is no defense. That flag doesn't meet our color and material standards. Noncompliance will lead to hefty fines." I stared at the flag, its weathered stars and stripes a testament to my family's values, and felt a mix of disbelief and anger. This woman, with a Wyoming license plate on her SUV, was claiming control over my isolated cabin? I noticed that detail as she stormed off, leaving me with a threat to comply or face consequences. Something was deeply off. That afternoon, I dug into research, combing through public records and search engines for any trace of the Pinecrest HOA. No thingno filings, no guidelines, no trace of Section 4.2.7. The county clerk confirmed it. "No HOAs in that region, sir. It's all private land." My unease grew when I visited my neighbor, Mrs. Wong, a 70-year-old widow 2 miles down the road. Her warm greeting faded when I mentioned Deborah. "She came last week," Mrs. Wong said, her voice low, pulling out a stack of official-looking documents. "She claimed my garden's marigolds violated aesthetic codes. I paid her $500 to avoid more fines. The papers were pristine, professional letterhead, legal jargon, even a laminated badge naming Deborah an HOA officer." Mrs. Wong's worry was palpable. She'd been conned by someone exploiting her trust. This wasn't just a nosy bureaucrat. It was a calculated scam. The stakes spiked when Deborah called me late Thursday, her voice cold through a blocked number. "Lucas Bennett, I know you've been poking around," she said, her confidence chilling. "You're making a grave error. I have resources and legal authority beyond your little hideout. Pay the fines, remove that flag, or you'll face consequences you can't imagine." The next morning, an envelope was taped to my door, my full name, social security number, and employer's details printed in crisp letters. Inside, a legal notice listed charges: obstruction, harassment of officials, and code violations. Worse, my boss called, rattled by a supposed county attorney questioning my legal troubles and their impact on my security clearances. Deborah's reach was terrifying, her access to my private data unnerving. Doubt crept in. Had I overlooked some obscure regulation? My cousin, Ryan, a local mechanic, urged me to pay up. "She's got too much on you, man," he said over beers on my porch. "Maybe she's got some legit power we don't get." Then my grandfather, Henry, pulled up in his battered Ford truck, cutting his Alaska fishing trip short. A retired detective with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, he carried a thick folder labeled Deborah Langley. "I've been after her since 2007, he said, spreading documents across my kitchen table. "She gutted a Montana retirement community, scamming 23 families. 3 died from the stress. His files detailed Deborah's schemes across 8 states, targeting rural properties with fake HOA claims, backed by her ex-husband, Edward Langley, a disbarred attorney, and corrupt clerks who faked records. Henry had names of 47 victims, all craving justice. Deborah's mistake was targeting our land. We formed a task force, Mrs. Wong, Deputy Martinez, and victims like Elena Rivera from Texas, who lost $5,000 to fake fence violations, and Tom Hayes from Utah, scammed for $3,000 over a non-compliant mailbox. Deborah's operation used real court filings to intimidate, but she'd overstayed in our area, and Henry was ready. We uncovered her biggest plan, a $3.5 million scam targeting the Golden Pines retirement community near Grand Junction, posing as a federal housing consultant. We decided to act, setting a trap. I spread rumors of a $500,000 antique collection in my cabin, bait Deborah couldn't resist. Tom's hacking skills helped us install hidden cameras, guided by Deputy Martinez for legal admissibility. Elena, a former reporter, crafted questions to trap Deborah on tape. Deborah took the bait, arriving on a chilly October afternoon with Edward, a fake inspector named Torres, and 2 hired goons. "Mr. Bennett, I have a federal court order for immediate access," she declared, brandishing a document that looked chillingly real. Henry stepped out, his calm unshaken. "Deborah Langley, I've waited 18 years for this," he said, cuffing her with his old police handcuffs as she stepped onto the porch. Her composure collapsed as cameras broadcast her screams of "This is illegal" to a live audience of law enforcement and journalists, coordinated by Elena. Edward tried to bolt, but was tackled by Martinez and FBI agents. Torres surrendered, offering evidence for a deal. The live stream exploded, "Grandpa Cuffs Deborah" trending nationwide. The Denver federal trial was electric. Victims from 8 states testified, our video evidence shredding Deborah's claim of being a victim herself. She got 12 years and $2 million in restitution, Edward, 8 years and a $1 million fine. A corrupt clerk's plea deal exposed the network. Golden Pines adopted the Bennett Protocol to verify HOA claims, and I launched verify-my-hoa.org, aiding 50,000 people in spotting scams. Henry married Mrs. Clara, an 85-year-old Golden Pines leader, at a celebration uniting victims and advocates. The flag still flies, joined by a POW MIA flag, a symbol of fights worth winning. Deborah underestimated us, but our community proved even the slickest predators can fall when we stand together.